Let's start our discussion. Where is yeah. Okay, and I remember last class we already started discussing file handling. Okay. So just a quick review. So for this read from file example, is that we use the file, and scanner can also take input from file. Okay, not just the standard input. Okay, the keyboard. So it can also take from file, and then you can do the line by line reading. So that's the file. For scanner, you can also do the next or next integer. So if just next, then it's a string. And if next integer, then it will take the integer. So it depends on your file formatting. Okay. So write to file, and we can use print writer. Okay, to write plain text. Okay, to file. And the print writer also provide a formatted output. So it can do print and print line. Okay. Okay, what the next one trying to show is we can also do read from the internet. Okay, read from URL. Okay. Read from URL. So if you recall, for the scanner, that previously we discussed too, it can read from keyboard standard input. And the second one is we just saw as a file object. So over here today, what we will learn, the third one is from the URL, so from internet. Okay. So what you plug in here is some internet address, some website address. And of course, in this case, it needs to be plain text. It cannot have image or audio, video. Okay. Then over here, we cannot, this program cannot deal with that. So we need to rewrite that. But anyway, so if you plug in some website address, the URL, then we need to create a URL object. Okay, URL object is from java.net. Okay. And so then you need to also open the URL as an open for read. Okay, so it's some string. Okay, some string. And then you can plug in it to the scanner. Okay, and then you do the has next, and then next line. Is it next line? So you can do line by line reading here. Okay, line by line reading. And this is going to count. Okay, do the counting. Okay. And what the next we are going to do is this O here is an array list. Okay, array list. So we are going to add all of the line to an array list. And the C is whenever you have the Java word in that specific line, then you convert all of the Java, replace of the Java with llama. That's what we are going to do. Okay. So using to array list to log all of the lines. So that's what it is. So you can see after you open the website address and you plug into scanner, then the remaining part it's mostly because it's deal with scanner. It's the same as what we previously saw. Is it? But be careful with URL as it also has some exception. Is it? It's maybe some wrong URL. is it invalid URL, then you need to take care of the exception. And for IO exception, same thing, that we always need to take care because it's check the exception. So we need to take care of here. Otherwise, your program cannot be passed for compilation. So this is read from URL, okay. Okay, read from URL. So over here, we provide an address. Okay, it's an HTML file. And the HTML file is a plain text file here. Then we call that method. Is it? Call that method, then we just output all of the changed lines. Okay, so list of the changed line. We are going to output that. So that's this part, and we can run this program to take a look at the result. Okay, so yes, so you can see is it all of the lines, and whenever it has Java, it's going to be changed to yeah, whenever it has Java, it's going to be changed to Llama, is it? So it does work, is it? And anywhere else that has Java, that looks like the only place at this point I can see. But anyway, it does work, do line by line reading, is it? And it changed all of the Java to the Llama. Okay, so that's this example. And then let's take a look at another example, okay. The second example, what over here, we are going to see. So for file handling, there are different category, okay. So we will, let's take a look of some of them. So the next, previously we learned file and print writer, that, and what over here it's going to do is called byte string. Okay, so it's viewed as different kind of string. So this is byte string. So byte string, it's raw bytes. Okay, raw bytes. For the raw bytes, so what is raw bytes? As a program use byte string, is it to perform input and output of 8-bit bytes, 8-bit byte, and all byte string class. It's so subclass of input stream and output stream. Okay, so that's regarding byte string. It's raw bytes. Okay. And normally, the byte string is some low-level I/O. Okay, low-level I/O. It's recommended use for primitive input and output. Okay, so that's regarding the raw byte string. Okay, and here, because we are going to discuss regarding file input and output byte string, that, so we are going to take a look at file input string and file output string. So let's see. Okay, so here we have some plain text file. Okay, some context text file. And then we have a function called read from file, and we also have a function write to file. So let's see what it does. Okay, so for read from file, we plug in file name. And this method itself also throws IO exception. Okay, so what we are going to do here, so we have a file input string. That file input string. For this file input string, we are going to create a file input string object. That then, because it's byte, So byte basically for a character, one character basically is 1 byte, okay? And for file input string, the read method, each time it's read 1 byte at a time, okay? So if we want to get to do the read, we can call the read method. And the read method to return some number. If the number is not -1, that means you read some character, okay? So then, but we need to do the casting, cast it back to character, okay? So that we will be able to see, okay? And also don't forget to close the string. So here is some resource string, okay? We need to close it, okay? So this is read from file, okay? So 1 byte at a time. And then the next write to file. Write to file is also file output string, is it? File output string, we create a file output string object, is it? So we are going to write, this is a string, has 2 lines because we have the /n. Is there /n? /n means a new line, is it? Okay, so we have 2 lines and we want to write to some file, is it? To some file. So anyway, so this is some sentences, is it? For this sentence, we convert it to character array. So this part is going to convert it to some array. And then for array, then we do for each loop. For array. Is it for each loop for array? And then we write letter by letter to the output file. Okay, and also don't forget to close the string, okay, because some resource, we need to close it. Okay, so this is another kind of file handling. So over here, it's raw bytes. Okay, raw bytes. And the raw bytes, it's some low-level input and output. Okay, and it's primitive, remember. But normally we don't recommend to use this kind. Okay, so that's the first example. The second example, what we are going to deal with is character string. Okay, character string. So over here, the explanation is a Java store character value using Unicode conventions so that it covers all of the languages. Okay, not for the ASCII. The ASCII is called the Western Scalise. Okay, so it's 8-bit. Okay, 8-bit for the ASCII. So it's mostly our keyboard information is covered. Okay, so over here we discuss character string input and output. Okay, and Java character string will take care of internal to the local character set. So we don't need to worry because it's Unicode. Okay. And over here, it's also said the character string is not more complicated than the byte string. Okay, because if you recall, byte, 1 byte, basically it's the same as 1 character. Because 1 character is also 1 byte. Okay, 1 byte. And so the character string will convert to local character set. Okay. And so if it's deal with plain text, then we use character string. Don't use byte string. Okay. Because it automatically adapt to local character. Okay. And ready for internationalization. So that's the benefit part for character string. Okay, so anyway, so just keep in mind is for a text, let's use character string instead of byte string. Okay, even though both deal with 8 bits. Okay, so that's regarding character string. And what next one? Also line-oriented input and output. That previously we already see for scanner that you can do next line. That so scanner is for input. For input, that for character input and output. Normally it's a single character, But for a string of character, normally we care about line. Is it? So line terminator. Is it? Line terminator, there are a number of options. Is it? You can have character return line feeder. Is it all single character return or single line feeder? Is it? So all are okay with line terminated string input handling. Okay, so this is regarding line oriented. And what is the next one? Try to show buffered string. Okay, buffer string. So far our examples show with file handling, it's unbuffered input and output. For unbuffered input and output, then each read. So read is for input. Is it? Write is for output. So each input and output, then it will be handled directly by the operating system. Okay, and input and output, that will trigger a lot of disk access. So each one will trigger disk access. This is like if you read from file, that, and if you get from internet or network, then it's network activity. Is it or some other operation? Normally, we view those expensive, it's cost. Okay, it's costly. Okay, so it will be less efficient for all the methods that we discussed so far. So in order to get around this, we can do buffer. So Java also provide a buffer reader and a print writer. Okay. Then it can deal with, you can buffer it to some location, is it? And then do one-time read. So that you won't trigger a lot of disk access. So it will save a lot of efforts for the operating system. Okay. So that's regarding the buffering. So for buffering, there's a buffer reader and a buffer writer. Okay, so those will, so it's kind of, the buffer is kind of some temporary storage place. Then you get off the data from that temporary place to your final disk or to your program. Okay, so that can save a lot of disk access or networking activity. Okay, so then let's see. So over here we have a number of version reading and writing. So let's see, how do we deal with that? So the first one is file reader. So file reader, remember, it's a character string. Character string. Okay, so you need to plug in file name. Okay, then you call the read. that you read a single character. So it's pretty much similar as a byte string. So this is a file reader. And then what next one try to show is buffered reader. Okay, over here, the buffered reader, what we first use a file reader, wrap unbuffered stream object. We wrap it around. Okay, we wrap it around, then to buffer reader. Okay, and for buffer reader, then you can do read line. Is it do line by line reading? Okay, and then we can output the line. Okay, and of course, don't forget to close the buffer reader string. Okay, so that's regarding a buffer reader. And what next one is we can also do file writer. Is it? So file reader, so this matches file reader. Is it file reader and the file writer? Is it? So here is a file writer. Okay, file writer, write a character, single character. Okay, back to a file. So over here you have sentence, so you convert to character array. Okay, then you write it back to the file system. Okay, character by character. So file reader, file writer. And what is the next one? Try to show is we can also do print write. And for print write, they support the line by line writing back. Okay, same thing, then you can wrap it around. So this is character string. Is it? Then you wrap it around with print string. Then you can do line by line writing. Okay. And what the last method trying to show is use the buffer writer. Is it the buffer writer? So this is unbuffered. Unbuffer. Then we wrap it, the unbuffered one. Is it to the buffer writer? Okay, and so this is a string. Is it array, a string array? Then for each one of it, you just write it back here. So you just call write because it itself already has the line terminator. So it will write back to a file line by line in this case. And over here, if you take a look at this one, it doesn't have the line terminator. So it's called the print line. Okay, this will take care of the line terminator to the file. Okay, so that's the difference. So this is just some subtle difference. Okay, that's the second example. And then next, let's take a look at the third example. Okay, what the third example going to discuss is it's about scanning. For scan, we already see some examples. Is it a scanner? Is it what a scanner does? It's break down formatted input into tokens. Is it? And then translate individual tokens. Is it according to their data type? Okay. So you break input into tokens using scanner. Okay, using scanner. So here we will take a file reader. We will also have a buffer reader. So let's see. Okay, let's see if we have. So what over here is some plain text file. Is it? So we first use a file reader. And if you recall, file reader is a character string. Is it? So it's not buffered. And then over here, we call the buffer reader to wrap it, the wrapper. And then scanner can also take, so in this example, we can see scanner can take buffer input. Buffer input, is it? Then it will call it has next, then it use has next integer or the next integer, is it? And it can also output the next token. So the scanner then use the has next integer, or so has the next integer next. So those will get tokens from input stream. Okay, from input stream. So that's regarding the scanner parts. Okay, so after we analyze the three examples, what the next part we are going to show is, let's see. We are going to, let's see, the official website, okay. What's that? Find it. Okay. It's over here. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a look at what the Java official website describe about all of the file concepts, handling concepts, okay. So we first learn the file, okay. So file class come from java.io package, okay. And what it does is, it says it's represent a file and the directory, as we already saw that, okay. So for file, then let's take a look. So the constructor, is it, if you recall, we plug in the file name, is it, and it can also take from some website URL, is it? Okay, and for the file, it has a number of methods. Previously in our example, we also saw, is it? So it can check quite a number of properties, is it, related with the file. Okay, so it's check is read, write, is it, and delete and exist file, and get absolute path of the file, is it, the name of the file or directory, is it, and the path. And if it is absolute, if it's a file, it's a hidden last modified, the file length, is it? And let's see what else. So it can also construct a file that URL represents this absolute path name, is it? And also the toString path, is it? So quite a number of file property checks, features that you can use. Okay, so that's regarding file. And what is the next one is regarding scanner. Okay, and if you take a look, the scanner also implements the closable, is it? And because it's implement the closable, is it? We also need to close the resource, okay, whenever you read it. So for the scanner, okay, that simple text scanner, it can pass primitive type and string using regular expression. As previously, We just very briefly discuss regular expression, etc. So what we already used quite a lot is system.in. This is that in is standard input. So it's from keyboard, is it? Then you can do next integer. So integer is a primitive type, is it? And if you just call next, then it deal with string, is it? So that's regarding standard input, okay, standard input, and next long integer, is it? And for scanner over here says, if we don't specify to use space, white space to do tokenization, is it? And you can also specify the delimiter for the tokenization, is it? In this case, it says, okay, it's going to use the fish with some space ahead and space after to do delimitation. So over here, basically, all this fish, is it? This is going to be used as delimiter. So you can also specify, is it? That's why next it can do next integer, and this next will get this word, is it? Because it's use fish as delimiter, and it will get blue out and leave fish out, is it? So that's what this scanner can do. You can also use different delimiter, okay? And for scanner, there are a lot of information regarding scanner, okay? So after class, if you need more, you can refer this official website for more information. So we use a lot as like has next, is it? And then it's has next integer, it has next line, is it? And the next short, is it? You can then do next, is it? And next integer, next byte, is it? Next line, next long, all sorts of, is it? And remove, is it? So all of those, okay. So this is regarding scanner. Okay, and what the next one try to show is file input and the file output stream, is it? And the file input and the output is that the input obtains bytes from the file, okay, from the file. Okay, and what it has, so it's a read stream of characters, okay. Consider using the file reader, okay. It says for reading streams of character, we can do file reader, okay. So for file input stream, what we already saw, the method is read, is it? It's read a byte of data from this input. You can also let it read, you specify, is it? It says to specify up to this specify array, is it? Length of the bytes. And you can also, so there are multiple overloaded read method. You can also do read up to this specified length of data, etc. And from some specified offset, okay. So this is regarding a file input stream. And what next to show is print write, is it? For the print write that we saw as the print line, you can do the print line, is it? And what over here for the print writer is that it can print formatted output for plain text, okay, be careful, okay. It says it implement all of the print method from the print stream, Okay, so we can take a quick look of the print method. So the print writer also supports append that, and also support format method and the print method. Print method can print a Boolean value, can print a character, can print array, print double, print integer, as a print string. It can also print formatted output. Print F is formatted output. And the print line, that's a print line by line, okay? So it has a number of formatted output print methods that we can use. And what next one is about buffer reader. Okay, we already saw, explain buffer reader's advantage is you don't need to deal disk or network access byte by byte. Is it? You can buffer that. Is it for later on efficient reading of character arrays or lines? Is it? So this is regarding buffered reader. And normally buffer reader you plug in with some file reader, is it? So you wrap it around, wrap some single character, single byte string to the buffered reader, okay? And what the method it has, we already saw it's read. The read is that read a single character. It can also read a line, as it can also read character in two portions of array, okay? So this is regarding buffer reader. And we also saw a file reader, is it? The file reader is to read a character, okay, read a character instead of raw byte, okay. Okay, so for file reader, the method that it provides, let's see, it provides the methods, yeah, over here, read, that the read method each time is read a single character, okay, single character. So that's all about various of file handling. So different approaches, okay, and considering efficiency, but that's not all, okay. So on Wednesday, we will cover more regarding file handling. So